In today's video, we're going to talk about why Kaunas is better than Vilnius. Now, my wife warned me not to make a video with this title, explaining that the fierce rivalry between the two cities would lead to some very angry reactions. But before you hit the thumbs down button, just give me 1 minute to explain. In this video, we're going to go over some of the reasons why people living in Kaunas like their city enough to choose it over a bigger city like Vilnius. The reasons we're going over actually come directly from the Foreigners in Kaunas Facebook page, which makes at least some of it a little more subjective. There's also the fact that some people are different and prioritize some things over others, and so it's completely okay to disagree with some of the reasons we're about to look at. So with all of that out of the way, let's look at why people in Kaunas like their home city enough to choose it over anywhere else in Lithuania. Of the 19 people that bothered to respond to my inquiry, one of the biggest reasons they liked Kaunas more than Vilnius was the fact that it was a calmer and quieter city. According to data found through Google, Kaunas had a population of 295,000 people compared to 544,000 in Vilnius. This means, roughly speaking, that Kaunas has just over half the population of Vilnius. This would definitely be one big factor in explaining why people say Kaunas is so much calmer and quieter and more peaceful. Related to Kaunas being more relaxed is how people reported it having much better traffic conditions than Vilnius. Having been in Vilnius traffic leaving the city on a weeknight, I can certainly understand what they mean. At the same time, having seen traffic in other parts of the world, like Kuala Lumpur and Kuwait, Vilnius traffic doesn't seem that bad, but it's all relative, isn't it? At the same time, many Kaunas residents say that the city has everything they need and that it's still a decently large city. This means that everything is close and accessible without having to go too far. Again, this is something that I personally experienced with Vilnius, having lived in much larger cities in the past, but I do understand how this is even better in Kaunas. A few people also mentioned that Kaunas is full of green space and little pockets of nature. Along with this, residents say that the city is very walkable and also has a great network of bicycle paths that don't need to compete with cars in the city center. Green space explicitly mentioned include Pažaslis, Kadagų Sienis, and Panemunės Šilas. While all of these places that were mentioned look wonderful, they are all a bit further away from the city center. But besides these spots, I do see that there are a few great park areas closer to the middle of the city. Interwar architecture was another thing someone mentioned about Kaunas. According to its tourism organization, the city has many examples of European interwar modernism architecture and represents the heritage of a golden period when the city was the temporary capital of Lithuania. Next, people mention that Kaunas is a cheaper city to live in than Vilnius. Again, this makes a lot of sense. It's a smaller city and not a capital. Rent, as well as other costs, would probably be lower as a result. One of the more interesting responses I received was that Kaunas was simply a better place for IT companies. The reason given for this statement was that the Kaunas University of Technology has an excellent computer science program, which makes it easier to find and secure skilled workers. And the final thing mentioned was that Kaunas was the quote-unquote most convenient place to live. Looking at a map, I can see what this person means. The city is closer to the geographical center of Lithuania and is slightly closer to the Lithuanian coast when compared to Vilnius. Kaunas is also slightly closer to Poland, and also a little bit closer to Riga. When it comes to airport convenience, Kaunas International Airport does have flights to destinations all over Europe, using Ryanair and Wizz Air. However, if you're looking to travel somewhere further away on a full-service airline, you might just have to go to Vilnius to fly with Lufthansa, LOT, Turkish Airlines, or some other airline. So maybe in that sense, it's a little less convenient. At the end of the day, I can see why the people of Kaunas like their city more than Vilnius. Of course, the people of Vilnius will have their own different reasons for liking their city more than Kaunas. But that will have to be a video topic for another day. What do you think of the reasons that we discussed today? Do you agree or disagree? And do you have anything to add? Share your opinion by leaving a comment. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.